We have some fun stuff to go over today. It's an exciting weekend.
Yes.
We had the Warhammer Fest Horus Heresy Weekender thing.
Again, they have a lot. They seem to have a lot of these.
It was the Horus Heresy Weekender at Warhammer World. A lot of cool reveals. They showed off this weekend. A lot of good stuff.
Almost miraculous.
And then we also have our copy of the Genestealer Codex. This is actually the previous one. We have the
7th edition, which is also the 7th. No,
this is the 8th edition Codex cover. But we just like this picture because it's bigger. So.
Yeah, but there's a subtle change in font between 7th and 8th edition.
Sure. There's a font change.
That's how you can tell them apart.
Yeah. So don't fall for it, folks. Yeah. This is the old one.
If you see it on eBay. Look
for the edge. Look for the edge.
The edge and the font. Don't fall for that.
Yeah. So, a lot of crazy stuff. Let's start with the Weekender stuff.
Sure.
And then we'll talk Genestealer Cult. If you guys have questions about Genestealer Cult stuff, drop them in the chat. Our producer Mars will get those, and then when we start talking about it, we can start answering those questions. Yes, we will answer them.
Yeah. So we had this weekend focused on Horus Heresy. We got more news than just Horus Heresy.
We
this
did.
Weekend. And in particular, it's focusing on Malevolence. Is that the name of the book?
That is going to be Horus Heresy Book 8, Malevolence,
which we've been waiting like 3 years for or something.
Been a while. A while. We're not only getting Blood Angels and White Scars rules in that book. We're also getting an actual Chaos Demon army list for the first time. So
need some Sisters of Silence to deal with that.
Gonna need some anti-psychers for sure. But this really opens up the floodgates and the warp gates for that matter. So if you have a Chaos Demons army, you actually can now play in 3 of Games Workshop's major systems.
That's true.
So the Realm of Chaos battle box is now 9 armies in one box.
That's pretty good. Yeah,
it's pretty rad. So we'll find out once the actual book comes out which demons are actually going to be available. But
and I guess you can take them in Kill Team too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's like 4
armies. You can also run them in... Well, no, you can't run them in Night Vault yet. But,
no. And they'd be that specific model.
Right. Well,
Get out of here!
But Kill Team, you could totally run them in Kill Team.
Yep. And in Battlefleet Gothic?
The game... The
miniature game.
What about it?
You could totally run your demons in Battlefleet Gothic.
Hey, God.
You just put them nearby and pretend like they're doing something useful.
No. But Malevolence came out, or is coming out. They had a bunch of the stuff available for pre-show sales there as well.
That's pretty cool.
The new Sanguinius model, I think, was available, but I know it's coming out soon anyway. And they had the alternate version of him with the spear and the crazy big base. That's just a cool model.
Totally not the Lance of Longinus.
Yeah, totally. It's definitely inspired by a lot of the Saint Michael's statues.
Yeah.
If you're Catholic, you probably grew up with that stuff.
Just check it out.
There's Google St. Michael's Church Munich, I think.
Yeah, there's a pretty statuary of the spear, and then the sword is also very common.
Yeah, so there's a lot of artwork too. Yeah. But that was cool.
It's a beautiful model, definitely.
Beautiful model, yeah. It's a very interesting pose for the Primarch. It's based off of that statue,
right?
Based off of that artwork. It's going to be interesting to see it on the tabletop, I think. There's a thing I like to call playability and how easy it is to actually use that thing on the tabletop.
I mean, I feel like a lot of the Horus Heresy Primarchs seem to be more aimed at display pieces than actually being used on the tabletop. And that one of the interesting things you get that I've noticed a lot about, especially some of the newer Games Workshop stuff, but you had it going way back, is the more dynamic a pose, or the more crazy stuff you have going on.
Yeah.
Honestly, the less sense it makes sense on the tabletop, right? You have this totally crazy pose, like Magnus, right? Like the Magnus Primarch, he's like, I'm shooting all these crazy warp missiles and stuff, and you're like, it's your movement phase, dude. You're in the backfield, you're out of range of everything. What are you doing over there?
Why are you shooting missiles, bro? You can't do that.
All this crazy stuff. You're like, so I mean, there's an argument to be made that some of the older style models where they're just like, I'm just walking here, that actually makes the most sense on the tabletop.
Yeah. Question from the...
We've got a rules question.
Okay.
Can we get there?
Sure.
How do the stats and rules look for bikes and the quads?
Amazing.
We will get to those.
We will talk about
those.
They're totally rad.
But we will jump on those.
Yeah.
The bikes and the quad are good stuff.
Possibly my favorite new unit.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
A couple other things that happened at the Weekender real fast. We did get the big the Necromunda reveals.
Or small Necromunda reveals.
No, there's a lot of stuff that came out for Necromunda.
Including a squat, which is small.
That was the big
the
short reveal.
Yeah, short reveal. Yeah.
Short rounds back. No, it's a second squat coming to Necromunda. We don't know what that means for the game as a whole.
We don't.
But
it was interesting in the new White Dwarf, right?
Yeah.
They put a little retrospective pamphlet with it, right? Which was a throwback to an old
epic version.
Epic game that had been published in, I don't know, the 90s, I guess.
Yeah.
It was one of the old White Dwarfs, a battle report.
But it was a
squats.
It was a squat battle report for Epic in the temporal distortion.
Yep.
Pamphlet actually came out. I don't know if GW is just really
trolling people,
or teasing or whatever you want to call it, but it's some good squat stuff. So it's interesting.
Yeah. There's definitely hints there, right?
Yeah.
It's impossible to know because it's such a cultural thing within the Warhammer community at that point.
Right,
it's impossible to know whether these are hints that there is actually something more with squats
or if they're really just taunting.
Yeah, you could see it either way, that this is just nudge, nudge, wink, wink.
Yeah, but not just that. There's also, they showed off some artwork for the upcoming guilds that are going to be joining Necromunda, and they also teased a creepy-looking Batman dude, which I think is one of the Spire Yelds. Yeah, which is one of the spires that would come down from the top of the spire to hunt gang members. He's the one with the wings. And if you look at the old model with the wings, the gun arm and stuff like that,
it does look pretty similar.
Very fitting.
And they make a lot of money, right? Because it would be a very high yield model.
Just credit job, babe. Yes.
Your income would be through the roof.
Yes. There's also something that I thought was a funny sort of, which was the Space Wolf Wolfen for 30K.
Yeah,
are getting
30K.
A not Death Company. I think they're called the Death Sworn.
Oh,
and totally not Death Company.
No, not at all.
They don't. They wear black armor, have skulls. They're good at close combat.
Yeah.
They have a genetic curse.
Yeah.
But they're not Death Company.
Not Death Company.
So that came out as well.
One thing I did think that was funny about the that they revealed about Blood Angels apparently they talked about it at the Weekender is they talked about that the Blood Angel gene seed, because it's a little unstable.
Yeah.
It's harder. It's less successful when it's used, and the transformation is less successful.
Yeah.
But it can be used apparently on a wider variety of people. So they said it could even be used on like mutants and some abhumans, which means that somewhere out there at one point there was totally like a Death Company ratling who became a Blood Angel and then lost it when Sanguinius died and went crazy and just murdered stuff.
I would not be surprised.
But yeah, so we got that. The White Scars models, I actually really like all the White Scars models.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of units in 40K that use pole arms.
Yeah, like halberds.
It's like halberds. It's kind of rare. Or like these are kind of like naginatas or something.
Yeah.
So it's pretty cool.
It's nice to see the White Scars get some attention too. With like the Praetorians, the Terminator.
Yeah.
The Terminator squad that they showed off in. I think it was just renders.
Yeah.
It could have been resin renders. I'm not sure.
But it's cool to see them using something different kind of cool weapon. And then they got their new dreadnought. They got dreadnoughts.
Yeah, Leviathan Dread, Neo Dread.
And they talk. And I remember that they were saying they were talking about how. The White Scars really don't like dreadnoughts because they're slow.
Yeah,
and they lose their freedom when you're put into a dreadnought.
Yeah,
and they were talking about it there that like it's a conflict between like the Terran part of the Legion and the part from the White Scars homeworld.
Sure.
So like dreadnoughts, they have them, but they only show up when like things are really bad because they're like, well, we lost our mobility. Like
they're real slow. We're on the defensive. We gotta get these guys.
All right,
out
let's bring the dreadnoughts in.
But then they also teased, which is perhaps the craziest thing, which was the Contemptor Dreadnought with a jump pack. And you heard that right. A jump pack Dreadnought.
I mean, it makes as much sense as like the old Dreadnought with like
you're not wrong.
The Blood Angels Dreadnought with wings, with psychic wings.
I mean,
right?
psychic wings, I guess, are a little bit more believable.
Are psychic wings more believable than a jump pack?
I don't know. I don't know
like,
anymore.
Really?
At this point, It doesn't. It's not even jump pack. It's like rocket pods.
Well, I mean, yeah.
Let's just the Rocketeer, folks. Anyway.
Yes. Oh, you could mold them with the fin. That'd be so good.
Yeah, make it happen.
Make it happen. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, and there was new Adeptus Mechanicus, new Knight stuff.
They showed
a
all that stuff.
A lot of good stuff. All Forge World. Check it out.
Titanicus stuff. All the new Titanicus stuff that's coming out.
A bunch of new Titanicus stuff. This is mostly weapons.
The weapons for the Warlord, like the Mori Quake cannons.
Yeah, which I'm excited for. Mori Quake cannon.
We actually really like that as a weapon option as opposed to some of the other.
And it's just like a real. It's a classic weapon.
It's also nice too because you, when you're shooting at other warlords, when you can turn them, it really messes with their firing arc. So, like that a lot. Anyway, was there anything else? Other big stuff from the weekend?
Carrion Empire's coming out. We also
right.
got the announcement for that, which is the box set for Carrion Courts or
Flesh Eater Courts and Skaven.
They're both getting army books that are out for pre-order next week.
Yeah.
Army books? Is that what they're calling them these days?
Yeah, army books. Yeah. Call them that, sure. Grand Alliance books.
Sure.
Whatever.
So those are
they're gonna have
and Chaos.
And they're going to come with a ton of
endless spells
for both.
New character models. I don't think, other than the character models, we've seen any new models.
They haven't shown off any new other models.
Right.
I don't know if they're going to get more or not.
They're not in the. They don't appear to be in the box set.
Right. The box set only had the two characters.
Yeah. So it doesn't seem likely, but there's the new character models as well as endless spells and terrain pieces for both of them.
Yes.
So there are some new models.
Yeah. I hear that the Skaven are basically the Genestealer cult of Age of Sigmar.
They are kind of similar. You could see some similarities.
Yeah, if I was a Genestealer cult, guys, I'd be getting.
I'd be really annoyed.
You're copying a Skaven.
It's
the other way around.
Speaking of Genestealer cult, I guess we should probably talk about the worm in the room.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. So let's just get right into it.
Yeah.
Man.
So. Normal thing you get from Codex, all of the cool fluff and stuff. Two things that are funny in the fluff. We're going to not really talk about the fluff today, but two things that are funny. We found out that basically the McDonald's of the 40K Millennium is called Arid Peregrine's Meat Dynasty.
Meat Dynasty.
And it's this big meat distribution and like food place. And
we're not making this up. This is
in here. ARRW, and one of their meat factories has been taken over by Genestealer cult. And they send out grok carcasses, groks, which are the big, like, giant cows of 40K.
Yeah.
They kill them in the butcher house, and they send them out, meat packing all over the Imperium. So this plant, when they get big enough ones, they slit them open, they stuff pure strand Genestealers inside of them, sew them back up, and send them out to do their thing. So if your hamburger looks a little purple...
Your hamburger tastes funny.
That's actually a good news, because that means the Genestealer was killed inside of it.
Right.
And did not get out.
Didn't get out.
So, yay. That's a cool piece. I also really like one of the minor cults that they don't have rules for, but they talk about this. Mm-hmm. They worship Old One Eye.
Yeah.
They're from near McCrag, and they have found him encased in ice and have him and just worship him.
Yeah.
And so they all cut out one of their eyes because they love him, and their little symbol is like the worm with one eye and the crab claw, and it's so cool.
Yeah.
But we've got their book here. They got a number of new units.
Real quick, the question was about the bikes and the quad, right?
Let's talk
about the BMX bandits.
One thing that's interesting about their fluff too. So these are the Adelan Jackals.
Yep.
That's the bike, and the Wolf Quad or Adelan Wolf Quads are the quads.
Wolf Quad.
What's cool is they do talk about here the Adelans, the bikes themselves, and I think the quads are called Adelan bikes. They, as well as the Achilles Ridge Runner, which is the new vehicle, are very common throughout the Imperium.
Yeah, these are mass-produced vehicles, civilian-use vehicles all over the Imperium.
And they talk about Adelans are used both by the civilian and the military, heavily. Yeah. So it would not surprise me if whenever an Astra Militarum rework comes along, you could very well expect to see them somehow worked into...
I hope so, man.
Astra Militarum perhaps is a new type of Rough Rider.
New bike squad, new scout, advanced squad. I really like the bike models because
they're really cool.
They're really cool. We got to unbox them, and they're really neat looking up close. What I liked about them too is they're so different than Space Marine bikes. You really get the sense that Space Marine bikes are these big hulking, armor plated, beefy bikes, and then you look at these dirt bikes and they have thin dirt bike tires and they have an actual dirt bike body, and you get the sense that these are not military vehicles, or they're at least not at first not designed as a combat vehicle. They're designed to drive around and get places.
They're very much reminiscent of honestly, like if you look like when Captain America rides a bike in the comics, like they're
Yeah.
kind of that. They're heavier duty, but they're like military courier bikes. They're not necessarily meant to
Yeah.
be read. You know,
You're
they're
for scouting.
Yeah,
or
scouting
driving around
or
in like the wild, or
bringing
something.
bringing messages, not necessarily for stationary bikes. Are like I'm going to plow into the enemy and shoot.
Yeah, I'm going to run you over and shoot you with my twin bolters.
I do really hope. I would love a Dash Militarum to get these but use of it's like abhumans.
You think you get a sidecar?
I would like a sidecar would be cool,
Yeah.
or maybe like some kind of like dog abhuman rides some for the Dash Militarum, and they could be rough riders.
I knew it was coming, folks.
Rough riders.
It makes sense on the Wolf Quad.
It does. Rules wise, so they come in units of 4 base. They can be up to 12 of the bikes themselves, and for every 4 bikes, you could add one of the quads in.
Right, so you can have a unit of up to 15.
Up to 15.
Where you have 12 bikes and 3 quads.
Yes.
That'd be a big unit.
Big unit. They're pretty cheap. They're like 10 points base and 15 points for the quad.
Yeah.
So they're not expensive. Nothing in this book is expensive.
Yeah, they're pretty quick.
They're 14-inch move.
Yeah.
They are across the line, both for the quad and themselves. Weapon skill list skill 4, strength 3, toughness 4, because they're on a bike.
Yeah.
The basic bikers have 2 wounds. The
quads
quad
have
has
4.
4 wounds.
Yep.
They all have 1 attack except for the leader, which has 2 attacks.
Right.
Leadership 7, 8 on the leader, and 5 up saves.
Yeah. So they're not the beefiest, but they do have
They're
more wounds,
They
and
do
they
have
are
more
tough
wounds.
4.
They also do have the skilled outrider
Right, which makes
rule,
them harder.
which it takes when you're shooting at them, you have a -1 to hit them.
Yeah, which will help out with the survivability quite a bit.
Definitely. So I mean, they're. I mean, 2 wounds. You do actually have to pay attention to them to kill them.
Yeah.
Like you're not just gonna throw some random bolter shots and wipe them out or something like that.
Yeah, you're gonna do some. You might do some damage. But you're not gonna. Yeah, you
Right.
have to dedicate some fire, especially if you're firing at a whole unit of 12. Like that's 24 wounds you're gonna have to take out. Again, they're not super tough, but that -1 to hit will stack. Take it from me.
Yep.
Playing Genestealers with a bunch of gaunts running around with a Venom Throat behind them, it's like they're legit.
They are legit. They do have a couple special things they can help. Now I'm gonna read real quickly. So one of the cult following rules.
Yep.
This is for the Rusted Claw Nomadic Survivalist. This is very clearly designed to be the biker cult.
The biker call, yeah.
When making saving throws, excluding invulnerable saving throws for a model with this cult code, and its infantry and biker units get the cult codes.
Yeah.
So this does affect your bikers.
It's almost like a chapter tech if they have dreadnoughts.
Yeah. Similar. So you add 1 to the result of your save if the enemy has an AP of 0 or -1.
Okay.
So against your basic infantry that don't have AP, you're going to be getting a +1 save.
That's not bad.
Which is pretty good. And even if they have a -1, you basically
you're breaking
ignore
even.
that.
Yeah.
So this again, that's going to help them be more survivable. But then they also do, in addition, biker models with this cult creed do not suffer the penalty to their hit rolls for moving and shooting heavy weapons or for advancing and shooting assault weapons.
Yeah, so they're super mobile and don't take a negative for shooting. They're almost as good as like White Scars.
They're pretty good. And why is that important for these guys? Well, the quads come with heavy stubbers base.
Yep.
That's part of their 15 point. I think they pay 2 points for the heavy stubbers, like everyone else.
It's nothing.
Yeah. So they do pay for that. So the heavy stubbers, they are a heavy weapon. They can also take a mining laser, which again is a heavy weapon, which is basically a las cannon, but shorter range.
It's 24-inch heavy one, and it's las cannon stats: the shrink 9, AP -3, and D6 damage. Which is not bad.
Not bad. Or they can take the Adelaide Incinerator, which is also really good. It is a heavy flamer.
Yeah.
But it has a 12-inch range,
and it's D6 shots.
Right.
I mean, strength 5, AP -1.
Yep.
That one doesn't really benefit as much because it's a flamer.
It's still a flamer,
but it's 12 inches.
Yeah, it doesn't benefit from that ability, but because these guys do have Cult Ambush.
I was just about to say, if you took 3 of those in a unit, popped up within 9 inches, you can still fire your heavy flamer
and hit them right then, which is pretty good. Yeah. As for the rest of the unit, so basically they all come with an auto pistol base. And then every model, except for the quads are a little different, but all of the bikers have to pick 2 weapons from a cult bike list. Weapon list. So they have a ton of weapons they can pick from. They can't take the same weapon twice. Shotguns are probably one of the better ones you're going to see because they're free and they give them decent shots.
Yeah.
They have close combat weapons, some range. There's a few weapons. Demo charges are in. There's a few weapons that are limited. They have grenade launchers, but only 1 out of every 4 can take a grenade launcher.
Sure.
They have like auto guns, but only the leader can take an auto gun, so you can't get a whole unit with them. So there's definitely a close range shooting unit.
Yeah, they want to pop up from Cult Ambush, or they want to use some deep strike ability to pop up next to a unit and just unload.
So
or even drive away.
Here's the combo you can use with them, though.
Yeah.
There is a pretty good combo. So they can take demo charges.
Mm-hmm.
Every model can take a demo charge, and demo charges are 5 points. So it's not
pretty
that
pricey.
Expensive.
Well, it gets pricey.
It gets pricey if you were to give the whole.
If you take like 12 of them.
Yes, and demo charge, if you've forgotten what that stats are, it's a grenade, D6 shots, 6-inch range, strength 8, -3 AP, D3 damage, and it can only be used once a turn.
Once per battle.
Once per battle. So, doesn't seem that great, especially because the grenade, only one model can shoot them.
So I was like, why would you give 10 of the models?
There's a few things that can come together here. So first off, you have the Jackal Alphas. This is the bike character.
Yeah, with a sniper rifle.
They have a good sniper rifle.
Really good.
And their big thing is that they have a rule called Priority Target Sighted, which is at the start of your shooting phase, select an enemy unit that is visible to and within 36 inches of this model.
Yep.
Until the end of the phase, add 1 to hit rolls for attacks made by friendly cult units that target the enemy unit while they are within 6 inches of you.
So let's set the stage real quick. You've got a unit full of demo charges.
Sure.
They roll up on a unit. The Jackal says, "Hey, target that one."
Mm-hmm. Also, if they're bikers, they only have to be within 12 inches of the Alpha.
Right. So then you get a little bit more range.
Yeah.
Can I get a clarification?
Mm-hmm.
Every bike can get a demo charge?
Every bike can get a demo charge.
Every bike. Yep. Because of...
Normally, because they're a grenade, only one model can fire them per turn.
Yeah.
So normally, there wouldn't really be a benefit to giving say 10 of the models demo charges, because you could really probably only use 6
in a 6-turn game. You'd only get 6 opportunities to use them.
Assuming you weren't throwing them as part of Overwatch.
Right.
Would you and stuff like that? So doesn't seem super useful at first. You can only benefit from the +1 doesn't stack. If you had 3 Jackals, you can't get them +3.
Right.
So +1 to hit from the Jackal. Let's just
+1 to hit and can target whoever he says.
So we then have a couple additional stratagems.
Of course we do.
Yeah. First one perhaps to look at is the one called Lying in Wait.
Yep.
It's 2 command points, and you use the stratagem when you set up a unit from ambush as reinforcement. So when they pop up, which bikers can do.
Yep, bikers can do this.
You can be set up anywhere on the battlefield outside of that it has to be more than 3 inches from the enemy.
So super close range is going to help out because those grenades only have a 6-inch
Yes.
range.
Now you can't charge after you do this setup. So this is definitely for shooting.
Yeah.
So that's one stratagem you can use. If you don't want to move your guys around, you can just have them pop up right there.
Right.
Then there's another stratagem called Extra Explosives. These are generic Genestealer cult stratagems. They're not locked behind anything.
Right.
This is 1 command point. Use it before Genestealer cult's unit in your army is selected to shoot or fire Overwatch.
Right.
Up to 10 models in that unit that are armed with grenades can throw a grenade this phase, instead of only 1 model. Now, it does limit you. No more than 5 of those models can throw demo charges.
Yeah, but still, 5 demo charges.
5 demo charges.
Yeah.
Lastly,
there's one more.
There's one more stratagem, which is called Drive-by Demolition. So this is 1 command point. This is a Rusted Claw stratagem.
Okay.
So this is locked behind the cult, but it is the cult that you want for bikers anyway.
Right.
And clearly for this. Use this stratagem before a Rusted Claw bike unit from your army shoots in the shooting phase.
All right.
Until the end of that phase, add 1 to hit and to wound rolls made for attacks with that unit's grenade weapons.
Ooh.
After this unit has resolved all of its shooting attacks, it can immediately make a move as if it was your movement phase, but cannot charge this turn.
Wow. So let's just back this up.
Let's put this together, okay?
You got the Alpha Jack, the Alphas saying, "Hey, attack those guys,"
Attack
and
those guys.
They have a 12-inch bubble because they're on bikes instead of a 6-inch bubble. Then those guys pop up within 12 inches of the Jackal and within
3 inches of the
3
enemy.
inches of the enemy.
Just outside of 3, so they're within range.
Yeah, they're within range to attack. So that's 2 command points, but whatever.
Sure.
Then you're going to spend another command point for the extra explosives.
So they can all throw demo charges.
All 5 of them can throw demo charges, up to 5.
Up to 5.
And the other guys can throw grenades too.
Up to 5 more can throw grenades, and they do all have a frag grenade.
Yeah. And you can also do your other attacks.
You can, yep.
That's beside the point. For now.
For now,
so,
yes.
like, your non-mining laser guys are going to throw grenades,
right.
Whatever. And then, at the end of all that, before you do any attack rolls, you're also going to do the drive-by demolitions to get an additional +1 to hit. And
+1
+1 wound with a strength 8
Play strength 8.
Strength 8.
So you're hitting on 2s now.
You're hitting on 2 because you're 4 base.
Mm-hmm.
And you're
And
hitting on
it's
2s.
not that hard to get a reroll 1s either. You could have, for instance, a Kellermorph pop up nearby, kill one model, and then he gives reroll 1s to everyone within 6 inches.
That's the gunslinger.
That's the gun guy. So it's not hard to get a reroll 1s either.
Yeah.
So with that, you're now throwing 5d6 shots that are hitting on 2s, that are wounding most models in the game on 2s.
Most of the time.
Anything that's less than strength 8.
And even knights you're winning on 3s.
Yeah, even knights on 3s. That all are, AP minus 3.
Minus 3.
D3 damage. And then you get to move to get out of there.
And then you get away. And with a 14-inch move.
When you can advance, too. Cause
and you can
advance. So you can't charge anyway. You've already shot, so there's really no reason not to
boom, 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 I'm out.
Advance. That's pretty good.
So you could get between, 15 and 20 inches away from the guy you just bombed.
The guy you just bombed, yeah. So, again, a unit of 5 with demo charges is, at minimum, you're looking at 75 points there.
Yeah.
Even if they die, it's not that huge of a sacrifice. So you could even run them through the enemy lines after you've cleared them out to grab an objective or something.
Why not, man?
Or you could take a larger unit. If you maxed it out, you could you could pop up, throw your 5 demo charges, throw 5 regular grenades, which are normally only strength 3, but they're still hitting on 2s with a +1 to wound.
Sure.
Not horrible. And hit them with 3.
Yeah.
With 3 heavy flamers, auto hitting.
With a +1 to wound.
With
right?
only the grenades.
Only the grenades.
Yeah,
So they're still they're flamers, so they auto hit anyway.
Yeah, so they're auto hitting.
And all the other guns are getting +2.
Yeah, or you could shoot them with 3 mining lasers if you wanted, hitting on 3s to blow up another tank. Something like that. And then get that. That's an expensive unit.
Yeah.
Now you can move it out of there.
Would you want to spend the points to do that, or because you're already dropping a lot of command points? I feel like you'd get more efficiency out of it if you had a larger unit.
Possibly. It depends on what you want to fit on. Because the advantage of that unit is if it survives, you can have given 10 of your guys a grenade, the demo charges, right? Mm. Now they can just drive back the next turn.
Do it again.
This time you're not spending the 2 points to have them pop up.
Right.
But if you were to do that, other than bubble wrapping, there's almost nothing the enemy can do to prevent you from just popping this unit up and throwing a bunch of demo charges onto them and exploding them.
That's pretty rude.
Yeah.
That's a rude awakening.
There's really not much you can do to stop that.
Yeah. Pretty silly.
Again, aside from properly bubble wrapping stuff.
Which isn't...
Right. Again, isn't even that... Not available to every army.
Yeah.
Not that easy. Because they're coming from Deep Strike, it's going to happen on turn 2. So you're going to have a chance that you as a Genestealer cult player is going to have a chance to clear out some of that chaff and hopefully make a hole.
Pretty mean, man. Pretty mean.
Yeah.
It takes... again, there's a lot of moving pieces in that.
Sure.
But it's actually not that doable. And I think a 75-point demo charge squad that just rolls up and throws a bunch of bombs on something.
Sure.
If you can drop a knight with that, totally worth it.
Yeah.
So
definitely. Another weird thing you could do with this, or if you want to make it to help clear out stuff, is there's the stratagem of perfect ambush.
Yeah.
Which is another really good stratagem for them. It's 3 command points, and you use it when an infantry or bike unit pops up from ambush again. And when they do that, they can either move D6 inches or shoot.
Yeah.
So you're probably going to want to use this because you're probably going to want to use this because the shooting is generally okay. There's a few really good shooting things like the spike one, which you could combo it and use all your command points in one turn and have your guys fire twice.
Yeah.
They wouldn't get all the bonuses, though, because some of those can only happen in the shooting phase.
Sure.
But you could have a unit show up and clear out chaff, right? The enemy's moved.
Yeah.
And normally, so then you have this unit show up at the end of the phase, activate this.
Right.
Clear out some chaff. And
then your guys deep strike.
Then your next unit deep strikes into the bubble they've just cleared out. So this is one of the only ways you can do that out of order.
Yeah.
And shoot the enemy before you deep strike stuff.
I mean, it does take a lot of command points to pull
off. It does.
It takes a lot of coordination, but the effectiveness of it is that's hard to debate. Like
definitely.
It takes a lot of moving parts, but if you can pull it off.
And Genestealer cults are pretty cheap.
Yeah.
You're probably going to be looking at having 13 to 18 command points.
Probably. I mean, you could easily do a couple battalions, like 2 battalions.
Yeah, it's not hard at all. Yeah.
Do you foresee Tyranid soup becoming a thing the same way that the other soups are based on this codex?
I think it's highly possible. We still have some questions about how the Brood Brothers works.
That's where it all comes down to.
There's some weird things there that we're trying to clarify. Speaking of Tyranid Soup, another real dirty thing.
Don't tell me about that one yet.
Okay.
I personally don't know if this will become a big Nid Soup thing.
Mm-hmm.
I think that you're going to see a lot of Genestealer Cult Tyranid combo armies. We've already seen a couple of them be pretty effective because of the Neurothropes and because of just lots of cheap dudes.
Right.
And now that the Genestealer Cults have a better Codex with their psychic powers, which Abe was about to get into, I think you are going to see an army that can be very, very dominant in the psychic phase in particular, and be pretty tough with mind control and some other dirty tricks we discovered. But there is a lot of questions that we have still, a lot of clarification that we need about Battle Brothers.
Yeah.
We previewed that rule, I believe, already. But it's a wall of text. And there's some questions on who gets orders and who doesn't, because there's some implications there.
There's some people are saying you can't take Battle Brothers, a Genestealer Cult, and a Tyranid detachment together. So we're looking at it still. I'm not certain. I think
we're not going to speak to that too much today, just because we're waiting for the FAQ to come out, and we'll probably be writing up some more in-depth stuff where we can actually explain, like, hey, this is how this. This is why this is fuzzy.
So it definitely wouldn't surprise me if we started seeing some more of that. I think one of the big things that they've done to stop Soup, actually, and I think they probably did this directly in response to the Soup that we've seen, actually.
Right.
Is they included the Gene Sect rule in here.
Yeah.
Which is you can only include each Genestealer Cult character once per detachment.
Right.
So what we'd seen is some Tyranid players taking a Genestealer Cult Supreme Command attachment with like 3 fairly cheap Maguses in it.
Right.
Just to get 3 extra Psychers and to get access to mind control.
Right.
And then just slowly popping them in through the game to mind control targets as like little suicide bombs. You can't do that anymore.
Right, because it's 1 per detachment.
Right.
Yeah.
It's 1 per detachment. So you can only take... So even if you took a Supreme Command, you could only take 1 Magus. Right. You could take a Patriarch to be your second Psyker.
Which is the Genestealer Patriarch.
Which is the Genestealer Patriarch. But then he has to be your Warlord.
Yeah, so it's more limiting.
And if you're just taking him as like a suicide guy, he's expensive and like you may not want that. So I think that kind of Soup, the little like Supreme Command attachment of Genestealers or Genestealer Cult characters, is probably not going to be as prevalent.
Yeah.
I do think it's not unlikely that we are going to see fairly, half Genestealer Cult, half more half and half armies.
I think you're going to see that more. It's going to be less skewed towards one with a sprinkle of the other. You're going to see more armies that are probably 50-50.
Something like that.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I don't know if you're going to see a lot of the Astra Militarum included in that because of the way the Battle Brothers does limit a lot of stuff, and the questions that we have about...
The questions. We'll have to see until we get some clarification, because we've read this several times, and it's a little confusing. We're not certain how it works entirely. There's a couple ways it could go. So definitely that's going to be one of the big questions.
Basically, one of the big points of confusion for us, in the way that this is all worded, is either units that don't normally get to have orders will be able to receive orders, or no units will be able to receive orders at all. And we'll get into it more in article form later when we can actually explain everything and have pictures to show. But it's a weird thing. Now let's talk about the thing that you were going to talk about with the psychic powers.
This is one of the potential things that they can do. This does require you to be able to take a Tyranid detachment, an Astra Militarum detachment, and a Genestealer detachment together. But it's a way that you can kill almost any single model in the game.
Yeah.
Up to and including a Warlord Titan with a single attack.
Single attack.
So you take a Patriarch. That's the big Genestealer Patriarch. You're going to get him... He has to be your Warlord.
Yep. Which
is fine, because you want him to be. So you give him the Warlord trait of Inspiring Leader. This is a default, basic one.
From the core book.
Core book. So everyone has access to it.
Yep.
This gives him a +1 leadership aura, so that will affect himself. So
he's base 10.
10. He goes up to 11.
Goes to 11.
You're then going to put him next to a Clamavus.
Yep. That's the guy with the speaker.
With the speaker. He also has an aura of +1 leadership to friendly cult models.
Which is
this guy. Warlord. So now you're going to get leadership 12 on yourself.
Right.
Rad. Okay? You're now going to take your Astra Militarum detachment, you're going to take a Primaris Psyker from there.
Primaris Psyker.
And he is going to cast Terrifying Visions on the target that you want to kill.
Yep.
It's going to reduce their leadership by 2.
Yep.
That's a psychic spell. That's a psychic spell?
Psychic power.
Power? Yeah, power.
Yeah. So you're at 12. The target is now -2.
-2. You are then going to go ahead and take if you can take the Tyranny attachment, you're going to take a Psyker monster from
Neurothrope, whatever.
And cast a Horror
Hive Tyrant
on this target.
Yeah, whatever. Hive Tyrant, yeah.
That's going to reduce their leadership by a further 1.
Yep.
Now, you can either then put the enemy within range of a Locust from your army, who reduces their leadership by 1, or you can have your Tyranid attachment be a High Fleet Jormungandr.
Yep.
Jormungandr. High Fleet. They have access to a relic or whatever, a biomorph or whatever, which you can put on a monster, which gives you a -1 leadership aura here.
Yeah, so if you did a Hive Tyrant, they could cast Horror with that one. You see where we're going with it. So basically, you've stacked a -4 to the enemy's leadership.
Possibly -5, but yeah.
Up to 5.
But 4 is all you really need. So -4 to the enemy's leadership, +2 to yours. Yep. You're at a 12, they're at a -4. So if they started at a 10, they're at a 6 now.
Yeah.
You then have your Patriarch cast the spell, or power.
Psychic power.
Mental Onslaught. Adam, would you read that?
Mental Onslaught has a warp charge value of 6. If manifested...
Not that hard, and they have a relic to give you +1 to cast anyway.
If manifested, select an enemy model within 18 inches of the visible to the Psyker. Each player then rolls a d6 and adds their model's leadership characteristic to the result. If your score is higher, the enemy model's unit suffers 1 mortal wound. If the selected model is still alive, then you repeat this process, each player rolling a d6 and adding their respective leadership, until either the selected model is destroyed or you fail to inflict 1 mortal wound by having a score higher than your opponent.
So, if there's a 6 leadership point difference between you and your opponent, they cannot win that roll.
Yeah.
You will roll.
Hey, I'm leadership 12. I rolled a 1.
I got a 13. Oh, I'm leadership 6.
I'm a 13. 6. I'm a 6. I'm a leadership 6. I rolled a 6. I have a 12.
Yep.
You still lose.
Yeah. So this means that model's dead.
Yeah. You just keep rolling, or you just say he's dead now.
He's dead. It's not going to kill out whole units of infantry because it only picks 1 model in that.
Yeah. Now, if the other player was not paying attention and it was like, I'm targeting your special weapon
weapon.
Well, I don't want to lose that guy. Okay, well, then you aren't pulling that target model? Yeah. Well, then I kill everything else, and then you still pull the target model.
You could do that, but against any single target, like a Warlord Titan even,
Baneblade.
Baneblades are only leadership 8. You don't even need the whole combo to do that. Knights are only leadership 9. Again, you don't need the whole combo to do that. You could do that. You can actually kill a knight just with Genestealer, Cult, and Astra Militarum. Same with Baneblades.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can kill any target you want with this ability.
Yeah.
And there's, other than stopping your other than protecting against Psykers, there's nothing they can really do.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Could you talk a bit about the points and stats for the Goliath Rock Riders?
Yeah, I don't think that we'll get there. I can talk about that in a second, definitely.
The Goliath, yeah.
Yeah, so yeah, that's basically that combo. It seems pretty nasty.
It will kill, Mental Onslaught will kill any 1 model.
Pretty much. The only things it can't kill automatically, some of the Ultramarines can actually get leadership 12.
Yep.
They have +1 leadership for being Ultramarines, and then they can take a relic banner where the Ancient already gives you +1 leadership.
So it's a very corner case.
It's a very corner case. Yeah. And then the Indominus Crusade or the Victor Scarred banner gives you +1 leadership.
Yeah.
So you could have your Ultramarines at leadership 12, which would make it a harder to do.
Yeah.
And then you can't really kill orcs that have mob up, but most of the orc characters or single models don't have mob up anyway, and if you're using this to kill a single boy, like you're wasting your time. Yeah. So the Goliath Rock Grinder, that's the heavy version. That's the heavy version, not the transport. Yeah. I'm not certain if the stats have really changed anything.
Yeah, it's still a 10 wound model, tough 7, strength 6, which same 10-inch move base. It still has the damage tiers and drops down. Starts at BS4 and goes up to a BS6 depending on damage. 6 attacks base.
Yeah. It's got a few weapons. I think a few of the weapons changed. I believe the heavy mining laser changed from 1 shot to D3 shots.
Yeah, that is better. The heavy seismic cannon's still back. Or still back.
Which isn't back. Great in my opinion. The clearance incinerator, I'm not sure if that was there before. It is a 12-inch range 2d6 heavy flamer.
Now, it did... I believe it dropped in points, because now it's only
78 points base.
Not counting weapons, base.
Plus weapons and stuff. So base, it comes with a heavy stubber with this 2. Does a drill dozer blade? How much does that cost? Anything?
Is that a melee?
Yeah, drill dozer blades are nothing. And then how much is the heavy mining laser base? 20, 25?
Heavy mining laser 25.
Yeah, so the base loadout is 105
points,
which is pretty cheap.
Yeah,
not bad at all.
How do you feel about the Rock Crusher? Because for me, when it was introduced, it didn't really fit the theme of the army too well, because it was like a vehicle that had to be deployed while the rest of the army's coming up from tunnels and stuff. It just didn't fit. But now that they've got the blip mechanic, I feel like this does fit the theme a little bit better.
I mean, I honestly don't think that the vehicles in this list are that special.
Yeah,
like it's kind of a cool vehicle, but I think that the list strength is in the infantry.
Yeah, and stacking all the auras.
And I think most of their vehicles are probably are. I mean, the Rock Grinder's kind of slow.
Comparatively, yeah.
Yeah, for a vehicle. So even with the blip mechanic, unless the opponent's being very aggressive, it's gonna have trouble getting places. I think it can be a fairly interesting and cheap, like, I'm gonna get in there and assault you vehicle.
Sure.
Because it does have the demolition charges, which are pretty good if you get close range.
Sure, yeah.
You can throw the incinerator on it, and the rock rock grinder itself is actually decent in combat. It gets 6 attacks.
It's 6 attacks. Oh yeah, it drops in attacks, but it hits on a 4-up.
Yeah, and it's with the drill, it's strength 9. D3 damage. And
I don't know if they're. I don't know if they made them like. I don't know if GW made the Rock Grinder. I would say like an essential unit now, but I think it is better.
It's definitely better, and it's cheap.
105 points base,
especially just to get a. So I mean, you could. Take 3 of them, right? 105 points is not that much with the heavy mining laser, which is not a horrible weapon.
It's 36-inch range.
36-inch D3. Put it in the back next to, say, your Jackal Alphys, right?
Get the +1.
Get the +1 to hit against a certain target, and then sit back there and hit you against like a big thing like a knight or something like that.
Sure.
It would give you good range. I'm just not.
I mean, it does have the percentage. It's heavy D3 with D6 damage.
That's good, but there's so many things in this list that can just make knights go away, honestly.
Right.
This is probably one of the best anti-knight lists out there.
Which is saying something.
Yeah, we already told you about that psychic ability you have. We've already talked about being able to do the demo charges, which can mess up a knight pretty bad.
We haven't even talked about aberrance or the abhorrence yet.
I mean, you can jump up with just your basic cult the cult hybrids.
Yeah.
So they have a heavy rock drill. They can get 8 of those in a unit. And the heavy rock drill, if you attack a knight with 8 heavy rock drills, it's probably going to die.
Yeah.
Because those do a crazy amount of damage to knights.
Yep.
And again, this is a unit that can pop up within 9 inches with the right stratagem, move these 6 inches, and they can have +1 to charge.
Yeah, get in there. And
right, they're going to charge you. They're going to kill your knight.
Yeah.
You can mind control knights still. That's still completely
a thing. Still a thing, yeah.
So they'll jump in and take over your knight. I mean, the ultimate like salt in the wound of that psychic combo I talked about earlier is to drop their leadership by 4 or 5, then mind control them, have them kill their friend, and then kill them with your patriarch.
Right.
And again, if they're leadership 9 and you drop them down to leadership 5 or leadership 4 with all your minuses, then you're looking at mind control and you have to roll 3d6 and you have to beat their 4 or 5.
Yeah, you almost can't fail that.
Probably gonna happen.
Yeah. So mind control and then have them and then kill it.
And then kill them. So there's that. Could be 2 knights right there almost. Right.
Right.
So the demo charges, you have a lot of ways in this list of just, I'm going to pop up and kill you.
Yep.
So,
surprise!
Like, doing it the old-fashioned way with some units that sit in the back and shoot lasers, like, I mean, you can.
You can, yeah. That's what I was saying, like, before, it didn't feel like the Goliath or the Goliath truck really had a good fit in the way the army works. And again, these versions now in the new Codex are better. I just don't know if it's going to, like we said, they have a lot of tools in the toolbox. And I think this is definitely, the Genestealer Cult army is definitely an army that cheeky generals are going to really get the most out of.
So I want to talk about the ambush for a second here.
Yeah.
Because I think it's gotten a lot of complaints about people saying it's worse than it used to be.
Sure.
Because a lot of people out there...
I can only deploy my deployment zone now.
We've lost the chart, right?
Yeah.
We don't have a 5 or a 6 on the chart. And that's true. A 5 and a 6 on the chart before... you had the whole chart and you rolled per unit, and they could show up on board edges, they could show up in your deployment zone, they could show up deep striking like normal, they could show up closer to the enemy, or they could show up like super close to the enemy and just wreck their face.
Right.
So that's 100% true. You've lost that ability. It is replaced by some stratagems that basically do the same thing, but they are only one unit turn, or two if you use both of them. But you've traded that potential for a much greater certainty.
Yeah, the consistency factor.
Consistency, right?
Versus the consistency with stratagem. And again, we've mentioned this before. These guys are pretty dirt cheap. You're going to have command points to spend.
Yep.
The consistency trade-off of being able to spend those command points and not quite guaranteed, but get really high percentages to have them where you want them, to do the things that you want them to do, versus rolling on the chart and hoping you don't roll a 1 or a 2.
You had some abilities to modify that with rerolls, and there was some stuff, but when it came down to it, you could not guarantee that your units that you needed to be in one particular place would show up there.
And now you can.
Now you absolutely can. Yeah. So that's a trade-off. I think that makes them better in competitive play, because when you're looking at competitive stuff, you definitely want...
It eliminates a lot of factors. A lot of random factors.
Yeah. Again, I don't necessarily know if it's better for the game as a whole, or like in taking it, because there's no risk anymore in that degree. Which
I think there is still some risk because... Well, we're playing a dice game.
Sure.
But we have mitigated with this new format. You've mitigated a lot of the risk, and like Abe said, I think it will add to the consistency of the Genestealer cult in competitive play.
And that's something you look for competitive. It's something that I think will make soup more likely,
right?
Because now, again, I could only target those 2 units. Only a few of my units I'm going to guarantee, but I'm going to guarantee they go where they need to. I'm going to take this Genestealer attachment that only has 4 units in it, and then I'm going to guarantee they go exactly where I need them to. There's no more, what if I roll double 1s, and then this unit that I needed to be able to deep strike has to walk in on a board edge somewhere.
Right.
So, you've got that ability. This book is a more consistent book than the old Genestealer Codex.
For sure.
There's definitely a lot of questions we have in it. When it comes down to the blips, I'm not certain how many. If the blips count as part of the
that was one of the questions we had was
reserve rules, and that you can only have half of your army deployed as blips, and the other half of your army has to set up normally. If that is the case, which it seems to be worded that that's the case, that seems counterintuitive to Genestealer Cult and the intention. And again, I would argue that that's probably going to lead to more soup. Because you can have half your army in reserve, so you'll take half your army as NIDs that can't do that anyway.
Right.
And then half your army as Genestealer Cults. There's definitely ways. Genestealer Cults are great at shutting down alpha strikes.
Absolutely, yeah. It's really strange that you can't even deploy within, you can't move within 9 inches of those blips. I find that odd.
I understand why they did it. I think there's better ways of doing it.
Yeah, I feel like if you move within 9 inches, then you have to reveal the blip would have been
a great one as soon as you move within 9 inches, or they just can't set it up. Maybe that's the tactic, right? This is the risk, and then I don't know. If they're all hiding down beneath the sewers, and you're we're all going to stand around the sewer grate with our guns pointing down.
I mean,
that's our tactic against Genestealers.
Right?
Yeah. So I don't know, but there's definitely ways of pulling off. There's a lot of blip manipulation you can do.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I think overall, you can have 3 blips that are fake. You can have 3 blips that were not fake but become fake because they go into deep strike.
Right.
You can then move. With the right characters, I think you can move another 6 of your blips around before they deploy.
Sure.
So this is definitely an army where you could be like, my army's over here. Oh, ha, 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 no,
just
it's
kidding.
All the way over here.
Yeah.
Lots of smoke and mirrors. So I think this is one of the hardest armies to play.
Yeah, that's what I was saying earlier. It's going to take some generals that really know what they're doing, some players that really know what they're doing to get the most out of this army. But I think if they do know what they're doing and know how to manipulate this army and work and play this army, they're going to be really tough to beat.
Going to be really tough. I think we're really seeing, again, how they feel 8th edition should work, too.
Sure.
Because if you look at the armies that have really been reworked or made for 8th edition,
Sure.
with really the exception of Custodes, I think, you're seeing a lot of armies that are very dependent on tons of minor characters and auras, right?
Yeah.
And this book, even though it works completely different from the Sisters of Battle book, though funnily enough you can get Acts of Faith in this through Brood Brothers, the Sisters of Battle beta book shares that design philosophy. It's also a book with lots of moving parts in it.
Sure, yeah.
And they're actually kind of similar armies in a lot of ways. They're both very close range
Get up close
lists with a couple support, but they're kind of got their special mechanic, but they are very like, we want to be like 12 inches away from you or assaulting you.
Yeah.
And we have our funny things, and we have lots of little characters. And
I think the Genestealer cult does it better.
sure, they do it, but they're definitely differently. But in that kind of thing. And then if you look at, say, for instance, Death Guard, right? New
Death
for this
Guard,
edition. They were, again, a book that they put a lot of little minor characters into.
Absolutely.
With
a lot
auras.
of overlapping auras and overlapping abilities.
Right, reworks of demons. Again, lots of little more overlapping characters and stuff.
Yeah.
So that definitely seems to be their one of the design philosophies
The
for
MO
8th.
for 8th edition.
Right,
Yeah.
and we're really seeing with this is a book where you might have 15 characters running around.
Absolutely.
Right?
I actually like that they added so many new characters and a couple of new units to the book. I just feel like they plugged a lot of holes.
They plugged a lot of
from
holes.
this codex to this codex.
Yes, definitely. And in a lot of ways, I feel like this codex probably could stand on its own. I don't think it needs the Brood Brothers rule anymore.
Yeah.
They put some of the Brood Brother infantry, Cult Chimeras, Cult Lehman Russes, Cult Sentinels,
They're
and
in the
Cult
books
Armor
already.
Sentinels are in this book.
Yeah.
So I don't really feel like they needed access
Sure.
to...
You could just run you could run the cult stuff that's already in this book and not even bother with the Brood Brother stuff
Right.
if you wanted to.
and I think the Brood Brothers rule adds a lot of weird...
You can tell
stuff.
that you can tell it feels like they play tested the crap out of it and then they were like, oh, but what about this thing? We got to tweak the rule.
And I feel like no one just sat down and thought, what if we just didn't have this rule anymore?
Or if they just sat down and said, okay, cool, we want it to accomplish all of these things, and it just got kind of lost in translation.
Funniest, my favorite thing about the Brood Brothers rule is if you take an National Military detachment, the command benefits, which is the command points you get for them, you are halved and rounded up.
Right.
So let's say I get 5 command points. All right, well I get half of that, 2.5, rounded up to 3.
Yeah.
Okay, pretty simple. It's a penalty, right? Because
Yeah.
it's harder for them to get National Military.
Sure.
You get less out of soup there.
Which I think is a good idea.
I wouldn't mind seeing that everywhere, right?
Right.
Like this is your primary detachment.
All your alternate detachments get generate half the command points.
Like that could be an interesting way to fight soup. But what happens if you take like the auxiliary detachment that has a -1 command point?
Yeah, we actually contacted a math teacher to find out what happens about rounding up.
Yeah, what's
with a
half of
negative
-1 rounded up?
Yeah, what's half of -1 is easy. That's -0.5.
Sure.
But if you're rounding up, does that imply that you're rounding to the positive
Or the negative?
or the negative?
Apparently, the math answer is it goes to 0, which means it's actually a bonus if you're doing that.
Which is weird.
Which is definitely weird.
Yeah. So there you go.
Well, there you go. Yeah. A couple things just to wrap
Again,
up.
like we said, we can't wait to see the FAQ for this book because holy crap!
Abominants are pretty cool. I really like them.
Oh, yeah.
Now. I think that the
Favorite character.
The Kellermorph.
Kellermorph's
amazing. I think.
I need a third arm.
He's really great. There is a warlord trait you can give him if you don't take a patriarch that gives him +1 to damage on all his guns.
Oh,
which is just ridiculous because he gets like 12 shots and he can snipe characters and,
and
you're
he's
like
plus 1 damage. He's already doing 2 of 5.
Yep, so that's 3 damage, and that guy can just mow stuff down. I think that the Aberrants are probably the most improved unit from the basic book. They were very kind of boring in the old index.
Well, having the abhorrent helped too.
The abhorrent can help. Yes, they have a lot of auras that can make them really good, but they themselves, I mean, you can take an Aberrant.
And I know how much you love the improvised weapon.
So the heavy improvised weapon is my least favorite weapon ever. I do not understand this weapon. It is a stop sign.
That is almost as good as actually better than a power
fist. It is better than a power fist. It is more expensive. It's 10 points for a stop sign. This doubles your strength, -1 AP, 2 damage, and you get to double your attacks when using it.
Yeah.
And no minus to hit.
Take that power.
Why?
fist
Why?
technology.
It's a stop sign.
Yeah.
And why is it expensive? They're not hard to find.
Go to the street corner and pull it out of the ground.
Yeah. But that aside, I mean, you can there is a psychic ability that gives you +1 strength and attack to a unit.
Yeah.
Which is one of the best. Again, they probably have they probably had the best psychic powers in the game. Mind control is out there.
They definitely have 3 of the top. I would
definitely
say.
So +1 strength to attack to entire unit is great. You can put them on your aberrants to give them 3 attacks, and then if they have a power pick and a rending claw, they make 3 attacks.
By the way, we got to talk about the power pick.
We got to talk about it. So the power pick is a very confusing weapon because a lot of units get it.
Yes.
And its special rule is it's strength of user, -2 AP, D3 damage.
Again, this is a power pick, and it has a rule.
And its rule is each time a model with a rending claw makes an attack with this weapon, it can make 1 additional attack with its rending claw.
So when we first read that, we were like, wait, is it this for the rending claw?
Right.
But no.
Because
the way this works,
like the bikers have it and they don't have rending claws. They can't get rending claws, so why?
Yeah. So again, each time a model with rending claws, meaning aberrants because they actually have rending claws, makes an attack with the power pick, it can make 1 additional attack with the rending claw.
Right.
So if you have a base attack of 2 on the aberrant and you do 2 power pick attacks, you're also going to get 2 rending claw attacks. It's a little confusing the way that was worded. In our first read through, we're like, I think this is a giant typo. But no.
It works for this one unit.
For this one unit, it makes way more sense. But when you read it, the first time you read it in like the bikers, the jackals, you're like, but they don't have rending claws. Is this broken?
Yeah.
No. It's intentional.
So you've got that ability. Again, you can get them all +1 attack. So now you're making 3 attacks with the power pick, 3 attacks with the rending claw, which is 6 attacks each.
Yeah.
Or with the heavy improvised weapon, they just get 6 attacks.
Yeah.
Then you can have them hitting on 2s. If you've got your abominant nearby, any natural 6s they do are 2 hits each.
Yeah.
So suddenly this this unit, which is
base strength 5.
Their base strength 5, you can actually stack it to get them +3 strength.
Yeah.
So they can either be strength 8 with their power picks, or who knows what it is with their
math
with their other things. So they both have a feel no pain, and they reduce the damage of incoming attacks by 1.
Yeah.
And they can ambush and everything. So this went from a pretty meh unit in the index where they were just like, we're a bunch of strength 2 guys, 2 attack guys.
They got the boost when the aberrant when the abhorrent came out.
Yeah.
What is it called? Abominant.
Yeah,
whatever.
Abominant.
I'm getting it mixed up.
They got a boost from that, but then they've got the whole
rework on them.
Yeah, when you put the whole book together and they're like, I can give them +1 strength and attack with the spell and everything, and then this is the unit.
They can pop up super close, punch people in the face. They're pretty good now.
Throwing out 6 attacks a model at a good hitting on 2s with a good strength and good damage. That's
they now definitely give pure strain Genestealers a run for their money.
Oh yeah,
on whether or not which one you want to take.
Definitely
their lead slot. So I like that.
Definitely like that.
Mars, do we have any final questions or?
Can you get the Abominant up to strength 7 with Twisted Helix and the Claw?
The Abominant, you can get him up to strength better than that, I think, actually. Because the Abominant
he's base strength 6.
He's base strength 6. So
and we just talked about ways to get units +1, so you can definitely get him to strength 7.
Yeah. With just that, the Twisted Helix gives you another strength 1 attack. I think there's a character that has an aura of +1 strength. And then you can get +1 strength on the charge also. So I think you can get him +3 or 4 strength base with just his claw without using anything special.
Yeah. I was trying to check. Was there another? Anyway.
Yeah.
So yes, you can definitely do that.
There's easy ways of getting him to strength 7. You can get him much higher than that. He's the big thing is actually boosting his attacks. To me, not his strength. You can get him up to +3 attacks if you stack the right things on it.
Yeah,
which gives him 6 base, 8 if he's using the claw.
I mean, even without the other strength buffs, he's already. You can get him a power sledge, which is ×2 strength.
Yep.
So he's already, and he's base strength 6, so he's swinging at strength 12.
Yep.
Just to start.
Yeah. The big problem with him with that is that he is on weapon skill 3, and that does take a -1 to hit.
Sure.
So that you need to be able to combo a few of the other things to get him some bonuses to hit.
Yeah.
there are some builds for Abominance that are pretty nasty, I think. Though, given that he's decent, he's not super expensive, you may just want to run him by himself and throw him at the enemy.
Yeah. Because if nothing else, he's got that stop sign for speed bumping. Yeah.
But yeah, that's Genestealer Cult.
We got more coming this week, too. We'll be talking about these guys in more detail. We'll be talking about some of the weird things we've come across, the questions we have on our main website, Bell Lost Souls. Check us out. But yeah, there's just, again, we're not trying to break this codex. It's just we got questions. Abe's trying to break it. I just have a lot of questions because Brood Brothers is weird, man. Yeah. And there's just a lot of strange interactions that I think they thought about a lot of that stuff. It's definitely the wording is fuzzy, and we should be on track. Let's see. The Codex comes out officially. It's out for pre-order this weekend. It comes out in stores this weekend. So this past weekend was pre-order.
Sure.
It comes out Saturday, and then we should see an FAQ either the following week or the week after, I believe. So we'll see.
Meanwhile, it's time to get those jackals and
those jackals built.
Jump over Mad Max and throw your demo charges at him.
You're gonna throw? I was gonna do the Great Escape.
Yeah. That fails.
I know.
He doesn't get away.
You know why? Because he didn't bring demo charges.
That's fair.
See if he
could have demo charged the barbed
Steve
wire.
McQueen, that barbed wire.
Got into Switzerland there.
There you go, Steve McQueen. Should have brought some demo charges.
I feel like Switzerland doesn't like you blowing up their borders. But
I mean, they got to catch it first, and you just escaped from one prison.
That's true.
That's true. Anyway. Yeah. I'm Adam Harry.
I'm Abe.
We're both from Bell Lost Souls. Thanks for joining us on the Tabletop Hour.